Hello, and welcome to this year's Concern Debates Teacher Information Session. My name is Olga Brodescu-Kavanagh, and I will be your host for today's call. Today, we are going to run through the introduction to the Concern Worldwide organization and the debates program. We're going to run through the Concern Debates team and introduce you to our team members. We're going to run through the structure of the debates program. We're going to run through the team roles and what your team is going to look like and who needs to be on the debates team in the schools. We're going to run through the debates platform and how to upload your videos to the platform for our volunteers to adjudicate. We will also decipher and run through the marking sheet and the feedback sheet and run through any resources that you may need for this upcoming debate year. As you may be familiar, Concern Worldwide is an international humanitarian organization working towards the elimination of extreme poverty. We work across Africa, Asia, Europe, and the Caribbean, and we focus on a number of programs between emergencies, livelihoods, gender equality, health and nutrition, and education. We worked and reached over 27 million people last year, and we currently work in 27 countries globally. The Global Citizenship Education team at Concern runs a number of programs that are tailored towards students from primary, post-primary, and also third level. We work with Post-Primary Debates Programme, that is our flagship programme, funded by Irish Aid. We also run the Primary Debates Programme, that is the only all-island debating programme for primary schools. It covers schools in Republic of Ireland and Northern Ireland. We also run TY Work Experience programmes. We run Speak, Act, Do projects with schools all around the island of Ireland. We also work with school workshops and organise school workshops. So please get in touch if you want to avail of any. And we also run World Day workshops with schools that are interested. Global Citizenship Education at Concern. So our Global Citizenship Schools team creates opportunities for young people to engage with humanitarian and global justice issues, including poverty, hunger, climate change. We aim to raise awareness and explore the root causes and encourage critical thinking in young people. Young people then feel empowered to take action on global development issues and galvanize global support to end extreme poverty, driving action on hunger, conflict, and the climate crisis. This leads to sustainable improvement in the lives of extremely poor people and a world where no one lives in extreme poverty. The Concern Debates Programme, as I mentioned earlier, it is the flagship programme in Concern Worldwide, and it is the only all-island debating programme/competition on the island of Ireland. The programme was founded and started running since 1984, and this year it is celebrating its 41st year. In May last academic year, we have held our 40th debates final in the Helix, and it was an amazing event. Over 20,000 students, 20,000 debates have been organised to date, and over 85,000 students took part in the programme up to this present time. We usually have about 150 schools taking part each year, but that number changes year on year, and it may be 160, 150, 170 schools taking part. So I'd like to introduce you to our team. We have our colleague Maeve Mooney, who looks after schools in Cork, Kerry, Limerick, Tipperary, Kilkenny, and Carlow. And you can see there the phone number for Maeve. We have work mobiles for the ROI team, so you can always reach out to us. We use WhatsApp and Viber on our work mobiles if that's easier for you to reach out to us via. We also have our colleague Amelia Deehan, who looks after schools in Northern Ireland, in Donegal, Cavan, and Louth, and also works on our primary debates programme. And we also have our colleague Owen Connolly, who looks after schools in Galway, Mayo, Sligo, Roscommon, Meath, Clare, Leitrim, Offaly, Laois, Westmeath, Longford, and Monaghan, to name just a few. And you can reach out to Owen via email. We share our debates inbox. Our debates email is debates@concern.net, or alternatively, you can reach out to us to our direct email addresses. So it will be a combination of our name, surname @concern.net. So for Maeve, it's maeve.mooney@concern.net, amelia.deacon@concern.net, owen.connolly@concern.net, and for me, it's olga.brodescu@concern.net. And I will look after schools in Dublin, Kildare, Wicklow, Wexford, and Waterford. And I also look after the volunteers and the Garda vetting for our programme. So in terms of our timeline for the program, as you may be familiar, or you might have seen from any of the information on our website or from the resources we shared with you, the program is split into a sporting style competition. It's split into league phase, knockout stage, quarterfinals, semi-final, and final. The league phase is the most intense part of the year, and it kicked off at the start of October up until December. This is where all 170 something schools that are registered for this year will be guaranteed to have three debates against three other schools. The motions have been shared with you in the fixture sheets, along with the information on which schools your teams are meant to go up against and the dates, the bandwidth between which your teams are meant to organise those debates with your opponents. Please be advised that it is the responsibility of the proposing team to reach out to the opposing team and arrange a time and a date that works for both schools. We then have the knockout stage. So at the end of December, only the top 64 schools, based on the marks received, will progress into the knockout round stages. The knockouts are compressed. The knockouts are made up of 3 rounds and they're compressed into a 2-month window for January and February. However, the knockout stages are a little bit different, where not all schools will be guaranteed to have 3 knockout stage debates. And based on results, schools will be knocking each other out as each knockout stage round progresses. So in the knockout round 1, we will have 64 schools. In the knockout round 2, we will have 32 schools. And in the knockout round 3, we will have 16 schools left in the program. When we move into the quarterfinals, we will move to the in-person format. The in-person format will be organised at midway venues such as hotels or education centres or other venues across the island. And the quarterfinal stages will take place over a 2-week window between the 19th of March and the 25th of March next year. We will organise midway venues based on the location of the availability of our volunteers and to make sure that no school is travelling too far out. The quarterfinals, the semi-finals and the final will take place in person, and they will take place in the evenings from 7 p.m. And from the quarterfinal stages onwards, we will have 3 independent volunteers at the panel for the quarters. We will have 3 independent volunteers at the panel for the semi-finals. And at the panel for the debates All-Ireland final, we will have 5 independent volunteer adjudicators judging the debate. While the league phase will only have 1 volunteer per panel, and the knockout stages will be judged by 2 independent volunteers for each round. We also will be organising in-person workshops, full-day workshops from 10 to 3 p.m. And they will be tailored for the debates schools, and they will take place at the end of the league phase. So they will take place around February, March, after the league phase has completed. So just to run through this again, between October and December, your team will debate against 3 other schools. These will be live using online platforms like Zoom, Microsoft Teams, Google Meets, or any other conferencing video platform that you are comfortable and happy to use. You will have a different motion for each debate, and you will be told whether you are proposing or opposing, and that information was sent to you with the fixture sheets. So if you did not receive your fixture sheet, please send us an email, or please check your spam folder, as your email school domain might have blocked the attachments from the email that we shared. An adjudicator will be sent the debate video, so you will meet with the opponents on a Zoom call or an online video call. You will record the call, and then the proposing team will be responsible for uploading that recording to the debates platform. A volunteer then will be assigned that debate, and they will have 5 working days or a full week to adjudicate the debate and then get the results back to the concerned debates team. We will then relay that feedback back to you and to your opponents, and we will notify you of how your team did, and we will tell you exactly how many points your team scored and whether your team won or lost that debate. Between January and February, only the top 64 schools will go through to the knockout rounds. There are 3 knockout rounds. If your team progresses through all knockout rounds, you will reach the quarterfinals. In March and April, the quarterfinals and semi-finals will take place, and the All-Ireland Debates final will take place at the Helix on May 7th next year. The concerned debates rules. So the programme is open to senior cycle students for post-primary schools in ROI and NI. You need to have a minimum of 4 debaters per team, but you may have more students taking part if you have more interest in the school. However, please advise your students that at any given debate, only 4 team members are allowed to be seen and interact with one another during the debate. So there is a captain and 4 speakers. Each student has 4.5 minutes to speak, and time penalties will be incurred if they go over the 4.5 minutes allotted time. And the 4 speakers, as I mentioned before, may only interact with one another. There should be no external influence or external notes being passed on from the researchers, from the substitute students, from the students that are supporting the team. And only the 4 team members are meant to interact with one another at any given debate. The debates are marked by volunteer adjudicators that are Garda vetted by concern, and we relay. There is no direct communication between you and the volunteer. We are the communication person or the contact person, the middle person, to liaise with the volunteers and the schools. All motions are set by concern, and they will always focus on global development, sustainability, equality, and human rights. And we ask that all students sign the online consent form for taking part in the Concern Debates programme. And our team is going to follow up with any teacher if we're missing any consent form for any of your students. And for example, if we only have 3 consent forms on file, we will be reaching out to you to confirm the consent form for the 4th team member. Some schools will have 12 to 15 to 18 students taking part, and each debate you will have new students or a new set of 4 students taking part and presenting their arguments. And this is not against the rules. This is absolutely fine. So the more students you want to have involved, absolutely go ahead for it. And some schools will only have the 4 core team members that will not change and will not interchange, and they own substitutes, their own researchers, and they will only be the 4 core team members that will go through the entire league phase. And this is also totally fine. At any given debate, you will have the captains and the 3 speakers. The captains at the start of the debate introduce the team, define the motion, and then give their own arguments. Every argument needs to be backed up by a source where they need to provide the adjudicator that is listening to that debate with the backup of where that information came from and where the source is. At the end of the debate, the captain of the proposing team will close or end the debate, while both captains in their closing speech need to provide a summation of what their teams have mentioned so far, and also provide counter arguments for anything that was said by their opponents. Please advise your captains in their opening speech, if they are the captain of the opposing team, please don't introduce counter arguments. You don't get marked for that. The captains only get marked for refutation and rebuttal in their closing speech only. Speaker number 2, 3, and 4 need to provide their own points and arguments and then offer rebuttals and refutations based on what the other teams have said. And any piece of information or statistic or fact needs to be backed up by its source and where the information came from. Now, at any given debate, your team will also need to have a timekeeper present in the classroom with them. In the essence of fairness, to make sure that there is no inaccurate time penalties recorded for a slow Wi-Fi connection and a slow pause of 2 milliseconds, we ask that each team proposing and opposing have one timekeeper present in the classroom with them, and your timekeepers are only to record time penalties or keep that stopwatch for your team only and not for the opponents on the call, because they might record time penalties that are not accurate. The timekeeper must ring the bell at 3 minutes and then again at 4 minutes and 15 seconds during each speech. The timekeeper is not to ring the bell more than twice, and the last bell needs to be rung at 4 minutes and 15 seconds of the speech. And this signals to the speaker that is talking at the time that they only have 15 seconds to wrap up and take their seat. Otherwise, they will incur time penalties. Now, this is the timekeeper sheet, so you can see it there. The timekeeper will need to fill out the date of your debate, the venue, so you can write online, the motion, So we can flag it and we can attach it to the marking sheets for each round and for each correct fixture. And then you have the proposing team, the opposing team. So please ignore it. This is the traditional marking sheet. If your timekeeper is only to be keeping time or scoring the time penalties for your team that is present in the classroom with them. So if you are proposing, your timekeeper is only to fill in the proposing team time penalties, if any are present. At the end of the debate, each timekeeper is meant to announce if there are any time penalties incurred. They don't have to provide the information which speaker incurred those time penalties, just to announce how many time penalties your team has in totally incurred. One thing to mention, for every 30 additional seconds, there is one time penalty incurred. So if, for example, your team speaker is presenting a speech and they are 4 minutes 30 seconds to 5 minutes, that's minus one time penalty. If they spoke for 5 minutes and 1 second, so 5 minutes 30 seconds, that's 2 time penalties. And for a 5 minute 31 seconds to 6 minutes, they incurred 3 time penalties. So every additional 30 seconds is an additional time penalty incurred. So who runs the debate? Who is your master of ceremonies or your chairperson? So a chairperson is responsible for opening and closing the debate and introducing each speaker as they come up to present their arguments. In the essence of fairness to our volunteers who will be watching this debate on an electronic device like a laptop, an iPad, or a mobile phone, we ask that the chairperson has and provides a little pause of about 7 to 10 seconds between each speaker. The chairperson is always provided by the proposing team. So please be advised, if your team is proposing, you will be responsible for providing the chairperson. The chairperson will introduce each speaker as they come to present their arguments, and the chairperson will also at the end ask the timekeepers to present their time penalties. Now, it is really important to mention that consent forms must be filled out before your students take part in the online debate. There are no paper consent forms, they're fully electronic for this year. So we ask you to forward the consent form, the green form, for the participation in the Concern Debates programme to all students that will take part in the programme this year and get them to fill out those forms with their parents at home. The consent forms can be filled out on any basic smartphone, so they don't need a device such as an iPad or a tablet or a PC or a laptop. It can be filled out on a mobile phone as well. And we will be following up with any teachers in terms of the numbers of consent forms we have, so you can confirm if that's the final number of your students taking part this year. So as I mentioned, the online league phase and knockout rounds, these will take place online. The Concern Debates team will send you the email with the fixtures. We sent that on for the league phase, and for the fixtures in the fixture sheet, you will see the round 1, round 2, round 3, which school you are going up against, if you are proposing or opposing, and the motion you are meant to debate for each round. You will also see on the fixture sheet the information, contact info, the email address, and the mobile number for the debates mentors that are part of that fixture grouping. If you are proposing, it is your responsibility to reach out to your opposing school or your opponents and confirm a date or a time that suits both teams. Once a team has agreed on a time and a date with the opposing team, please confirm it with the Concern Debates team. Confirm it with us. So send us an email or a mobile text message, WhatsApp, Viber, it doesn't matter which platform you choose. Drop us an email and let us know. Hey Olga, hey May, hey Owen, it's Mary here from St. Mary's. We have confirmed our date with this team for our round 1 and this is the date. We then will make a note of that as we keep a detailed tracking of any of our fixtures and league phase rounds, as within the league phase there are hundreds of debates taking place and we need to reach out to volunteers and recruit them, so it needs to be set for separate dates. We also need to take into account any conflict of interest, so for any debate that is set and confirmed, we need to reach out to our volunteers and make sure that we don't reach out to volunteers whose children go to those schools, and we need to consider a lot of elements before we recruit volunteers for each round. So please let us know the minute you have a confirmation for your round 1, round 2, or round 3 debate and a set agreed date. Let us know so we can do our best to make a note of that and then recruit the correct amount of volunteers for each round. Now, once a debate has been agreed, once the date of your debate has come, you record the live debate over Zoom, MS Teams, or Google Meet. You then upload the debates to the debates platform, and we will run through that in a moment. If your school does not have a professional Zoom account, you can absolutely use a basic Zoom account or license. It simply means that you will need to set up 2 separate meetings on that Zoom account and record that debate within a 20-minute slot, because Zoom on a basic license cuts out a 20-minute mark. So if you just let us know that you are recording that debate in 2 slots and you've uploaded it into 2 slots on the debates platform, we will make a note of that and we will inform the volunteer and assign both debate slots or debates video segments to the volunteer. This is an example of what your fixture sheet should look like. So you see proposing, opposing, round 1, and the date. So you don't have a set date set by us. You instead have a window of about 2.5 weeks for each round. So it gives you the flexibility to set a date that works both for yourself and your opponents. So I won't run through the instructions on Zoom, and at the end of the presentation, you can actually click on any of these informations. Any of these informations are also available on our website from the PowerPoint presentation. They're hyperlinks, so you can go through that. There's also YouTube tutorials on how to do Zoom recordings, the basics, and then getting started, a guide for users on helping you to get to know Zoom a little bit better if you are planning to use Zoom. If you are not sure how to use it, please reach out to us and we can provide you with assistance and help on a limited basis. It all depends on our availability as well. But in extreme situations, we can offer you the help of running the debates on the concerned Zoom account. Just to be mindful of that, we use it on a daily basis as part of our work. So this will only be on if it is available at any given date or time. So let us know if you have any issues with using Zoom and we can help you with that. When it comes to the face-to-face or the in-person debates, this is the way the room will be set up. You will have the proposing team on the left at the top of the room, the opposing team on the right at the top of the room, and a podium in the center or right in front of them. You will have the timekeeper and chairperson somewhere at the back of the students or somewhere at the front, depending on the layout of the classroom or the space available and the space in the venue and which way it is laid out. And you will have the adjudicators sitting either at the back of the room or right at the front, in front of the audience. Please be mindful that in the quarterfinals, semifinals, and finals, we will have audience members present. So for your students that might not be familiar or used to speaking in front of an audience filled room, just something for them to be mindful. If your team reaches the quarterfinals, the semis, and the final, there will be audience members. And the further the teams move along, the more audience members there will be present in that venue. So just for them to get comfortable with that idea. The debates platforms for online debates and how to submit them and where to find information. So Concerned Debates have developed a platform that allows schools to upload the debates recordings and then the volunteers securely log on and watch the debates that have been assigned to them. This is not a public domain platform, so it's only available to the teachers and you need to register. And for any volunteers, we need to import their information before they are able to register. So it's not a platform where any stranger can just walk in, log on, and start watching debates. For our safeguarding reasons and to make sure that we keep in strict line with our safeguarding procedures, only the school's debates mentors are able to log on to the platform using the password that you set up when you register the school, and the volunteers also have a strict login system. So the platform is www.debates.concern.net. It sounds very similar to our website, but it is not. Please be advised that it's not just debates at concern.net and it's not concern.net, it's debates.concern.net. And there is a YouTube guide as well on the Concerned Debates teachers how to use online Concerned Debates platform. So we have a YouTube playlist If you go to concern.net, Concern's YouTube channel, you scroll to the bottom of the page, there are schools playlist resources. So there are resources in the form of video guides. So you have to scroll to the bottom of the page, go to resources, and then as part of that resources, there are post-primary debates resources, primary debates resources, resources for teachers, for students. So there is a selection of videos on our Concern YouTube channel that actually talk you through the registration on the debates platform. So how to register? Before using the debates platforms, all schools must register with their email address and create a password. So you go to debates.concern.net, then under the login or register, you enter your email address that you will be using for logging into the platform, and you click on the purple continue button. All schools must register each year on the platform, even if you used it last year. So for returning schools, please be advised you need to re-register again. We do this as a cleanse every summer. We remove any data for any schools in the eventuality that a teacher moves from one school to the other. So no data is kept that is out of date, and to make sure that we are in line with our data protection and GDPR regulations. So schools do need to register each year, even if you used the platform last year as well. So when you fill in your email address that you will be using for registration, you then click on the purple continue button. The page will then bring you will then be sent an email verification to the email you used. That email will contain a code that will be valid for about 10 minutes. So you can fill in the code, you fill in your name, surname, email address, and then you can either click in on that code or you click on the email in your inbox. This will then take you to the registration page where you can input your name, surname, email address, and create a password. The password must be 12 digits minimum, and it needs to contain an uppercase, a lowercase, a special character, and numerical digits as well. So please be advised, 12 digits long minimum, uppercase, a lowercase, numerical digit, and a special symbol or character. And then once you have filled that in, you click I have read and agreed to the privacy policy, cookie policy, terms and service, and then you again click on the purple button. The platform is very self-reliant in the sense that you always know the steps because you will always click through the purple buttons or green buttons, and the green button is very important, is all the way at the end. So you complete registration by clicking on that purple button. Then you will be brought to the main registration page. So once logged in, you need to create a profile for your school. The reason you need to do that is because we might have 4 schools in the program and they all have the same name, St. Mary's. And we identify them based on your registration when you log on to the platform. So once you log in, you will be taken to the home page and you will be able to see my registrations in the top left corner of the page. You have to click on the purple button, Start Registration. So it will say, hello, Maeve Mooney, you have no registrations yet. What are you waiting for? You then click on that purple button, Start Registration, and then you enter your details under Start Here tab. Category is already inputted, so you only enter your school name. Once your school name is entered, you click on the purple button, Save plus Next. So once again, Save plus Next. If you hit cancel, it will not save the information. So this will then take you to the next tab for the school information. You then enter the roll number for the school. For NI schools, please simply enter non-applicable, NA. You enter the debates mentor name and the email address. Once all the details are inputted, click on the purple Submit Registration button at the bottom. Please be advised, you have a number of options here. You have Save plus Next, Save plus Close, or you have Previous. And then the final step is the submit registration. So if you don't click on that submit registration, we will not be notified that you have completed your registration on the platform. So once you hit submit registration, your school account registration is now complete. So once your school account is now complete, we will then approve it or decline it. So please don't fill out a new registration if you forget your password. There is a way to retrieve the password if you forget it. If you create multiple profiles on the platform, we will simply delete the multiple or the duplicates, triplicate profiles, and we will ask you to go through the steps of forgot password to retrieve the original application. So once you are ready to upload your debate took place, You then log on to your account. Once you log in, you click on Action Tasks that will be in the top left corner of the screen. And then once there, you can upload 3 separate videos. In the eventuality that you might use a basic Zoom license and you need to upload 2 segments for round 1, fear not, flag it with us and you can upload it under video upload 1 and video upload 2. That will be for round 2. Don't worry about not having space for uploading your round 2 debate. We will simply recuse or delete the round 1 debates once the results are with us, and the spaces will be once again available to you. So don't worry about, don't panic if you need to upload 2 segments of the debate video. You can upload them under video upload 2 or video upload 1 and video upload 2 and flag it with us. So once you go through the action tasks, you will be brought to the uploading page. So in order to upload the debate, you put in the proposing school name, the opposing school name, the motion you're uploading the debate for, and then there is a little purple button once again under video upload 1 that says select file. So you select the file, click on that purple button, and it will ask you to select the recording of that debate. So it's either going to be in your documents on your desktop, or it will be on your cloud if you're using a professional Zoom account, and if you prefer to upload or record your debates via the cloud account itself. Once you've selected the file, it will take about 30 to 60 seconds for that file to buffer to be semi-uploaded to the platform. Then very important there are now the final steps. So you please hit the green submit button rather than the purple save for later. I know the intuition will dictate that you click once again the purple button because it's always been the purple buttons to this point, but the final step is to hit the green submit button. Once you click submit, the debate then will be uploaded to the platform and we will be able to see it from our side. If you don't hit on that submit button and instead click on the save for later, we will not be able to see the debate upload from our end and we won't be able to assign it to the volunteer. So once you hit that button submit, you will be notified via email that your video has been uploaded and we will be in contact with you within a week to let you know of the result and the outcome. Now, the adjudication and feedback for any debate. So once your video has been uploaded, you will receive an information email that says the video has been received by the debates team and will now be shared securely with the recruited volunteer. The Concerned Debates team will be in contact with you within 1 week with the results and the feedback once the adjudication process is complete. Please be advised, if there is any delay in our adjudication process, if a volunteer that has originally agreed to adjudicate a debate has to drop out or cancel on that round, and we need to recruit at a short notice a new volunteer for that debate, we will notify you that there is a slight delay and we will keep you informed. We also ask that both schools retain a copy of the video until you receive the feedback and the results from us. So please, if you are uploading the debate, don't think that the process is finished. Don't delete that recording just in order for us to get to make sure that the recording is viewable, that there's a correct audio feed, that the video feed is fine. And then once you receive the feedback and the results for that debate, please feel free to go and delete that debate recording. Now, running through the marking sheet. So the marking sheet itself looks a little bit complicated, but it's quite simple. If you look at the marking sheet and split it halfway down the middle from top to bottom, and you have the left side of the page and the right side of the page. So your team will be marked on 4 different segments. On segment A, content, on segment B, debating skills, on segment C, for the captain's duties, and then on segment D, for teamwork. As part of the content, segment A, the teams will be marked on their knowledge and understanding of the subject, on the relevance to the motion. So always connect any argument that they state back to the motion itself. Is it connected to it or is it just straying away from the subject? And also they will be marked on the use and variety of sources. So they always need to quote where they got the information from. As part of section B, debating skills, you can see there are two blacked out segments or cells. This is specifically for the captains. So the captains will get marked, and you can see there speaker 1, 2, 3, and 4. So the captains on the marking sheet itself are marked as speaker 1, but also the captains have their own section at the bottom of the page, section C, where they get marked on their opening speech and their closing speech. So two separate sections that are not part of the marking system for the rest of the team members. So as part of the debating skills, your teams will be marked for the rebuttal and refutation, except for the captains. The captains get marked for that as part of their closing speech. And you can see there the closing speech is where they can receive 10 marks as part of their rebuttal and refutation. If your captain is opposing and they are about to open their speech, provide their opening speech, please flag with them. They're not to provide any counter argument if they are about to introduce their opening speech. Keep the counter arguments to the end for the captains specifically. Your teams will also be marked for the ability to persuade, communicate, and engage. You might ask, how is one supposed to communicate and persuade on a video call? We encourage the team members to make eye contact with that video camera. Imagine that they are looking at that virtual volunteer and trying to convince the audience of their side of the argument. They need to make eye contact and they need to speak at the camera as if speaking to a virtual room full of people. If they will continuously read 4.5 minutes of speech from cue cards and not look up at the camera once, they will lose mark. They won't be able to score highly on that ability to persuade, communicate, and engage. Also, your teams will be marked on logical and well-constructed arguments. So their arguments need to have a beginning, a middle, and an end. And the captains will be marked on definition to the motion and response to the definition if they're opposing, and outlining of the team's arguments. The captains must provide an outline in their opening speech of what each team member is going to be speaking about. And also at the end, in their closing speech, they need to provide a summation and remind us all what was said by their team in detail, as well as providing rebuttal and refutation. Please be advised, the captains are not to introduce any new information in their closing speech unless that comes in the form of rebuttal and refutation, in the form of the counter argument. Your teams will also be marked for teamwork, so display of teamwork during the debate. You may ask, which way are they meant to do that? Please make sure that when you set up that camera or that laptop or that iPad or whatever device you're using to record the debate, that you set it up in such a way where on that camera, your team can be seen interacting with one another. We advise you maybe not to point the camera at a corner or at a blank wall or at a whiteboard where each speaker is going to come up and the volunteer is not going to be able to see the speakers interacting with one another. If your team is not presenting at any given time, you are to have the microphone on mute, but they are encouraged to pass notes and cue cards to one another and post-it notes if they come up with a brilliant counter argument and they want to pass it on to their next speaker on the team. They are absolutely encouraged to do so and respectfully interact with one another as long as your microphone is on mute if your team is not presenting. It's to make sure that if there is audio background feed or noise or a ring bell or a school bell, that the opponents that are presenting at the time don't get not put off, but don't get interrupted, because that can really throw off their entire speech then. And if they need to restart or start again, it can be an interruption that can cost them time penalties, or it can also cost them their confidence. So please be respectful of your opponents. If you're not presenting an argument, mute your microphone and make sure that you set up the equipment in such a way that the team can be seen in the background, even if it's at the back of the room. It doesn't matter. And please don't worry, the volunteers will not mark higher for schools that have a higher video production setup. They're not there to mark on how well the video production is set up. They're there to mark your students on their ability to debate and how well they debate. So which way are the point systems going to work this year? So this year, we're trying out something new. Absolutely no team will end up at the end of the league phase with 0 points. And it can be quite disheartening if your team has put in so much effort into running 3 debates and then, a team may lose all 3 rounds in the league phase. and they may lose unanimously. And that means that at the end of the league phase, in the league table, in the league board, they can see themselves as scoring 0 for the entire league phase. And it's not a nice feeling. So this year, a unanimous loss will be bumped up to 1 point. And it's a loss of more than 11 points on the marking sheet in the raw scores. A minority loss is worth 2 points, and that's a loss of 10 points or less. A bye win is technically not a win. A bye point system is awarded to schools whose opponents drop out on them or cancel on an agreed debate at a short notice without the possibility to reschedule. So the team that cancels first or reschedules first will be the team that receives 1 point, worth as much as a unanimous loss. And the team who was ready to debate and was on that Zoom call was ready to go ahead with the debate, and at no fault of their own, their opponents did not agree or did not join that call or had to cancel at a short notice. That team will be rewarded by receiving the bye points, and they're worth 3 points. And that's basically a compensatory point system. A majority win is worth 4 points this year, and that's a win of 10 points or less. A unanimous win is worth 5 points, and that's a win margin between 11 and 19 points. A unanimous plus win is worth 6 points, and that's a win of 20 points or more on the marking sheet. So from the raw scores. The motions for this league phase this year are for the round 1 is disinformation is the biggest threat to peace in 2025. For round 2, you have boycotting is the most effective way to end fast fashion. And for round 3, global commitments to ending world hunger are a load of hot air. Please be advised, we have a mountain of resources and links that we research these motions via, and they are available on the Concern Debates Trello board. If you can't find that, or if you cannot find a link or a hyperlink in any of our emails to our Trello board, please drop us an email to debates@concern.net and we will be happy to send it on to you. We also have developed a number of resources in the form of podcast conversations and discussions with experts in the field and concerned colleagues on each motion, and those are now available on our Spotify account. So you can type in Concern Debates Debating Development Podcast on Spotify, and you will be able to listen to the conversations we had with concerned staff colleagues, with experts from each field on each of the motions. And they can be quite inspirational and they can work as really good starting point for your teams to do their research for each round. The podcasts are also available if you don't use Spotify or don't like to use Spotify. They're also available on our Concern Worldwide YouTube channel as part of our post-primary debates resources. In terms of this year, we realized that the Concern Debates program has a competitive element at heart. But the most important thing that we ask our students and our schools to focus on is the educational element of it. This year, however, we want to encourage students and schools to have that conversation, that discussion piece. So when at the end of the debate, your chairperson has concluded the remarks and the time penalties have been announced, and then the proposing team hits the button stop recording, we ask that after a debate, the teachers can encourage students to discuss the following questions with their opponents. It's important to remember that the students are going to be meeting other students that they don't get a chance to interact with in a physical classroom. And in the lack of that in-person element, we want to get the students to talk to one another and remember that the goal isn't to just win the debate, but it's also to develop thinkers, critical thinkers, listeners, and communicators. And these questions are a way to recognize the strength in each other's arguments and also reflect on what you've learned from each debate for the students. So it's also a way to show respect for the time and effort both sides put in. So we want our students this year to focus and have a conversation at the end. It can be a 2-minute, 3-minute conversation at the end. We don't want to add more things to do to our debates mentors. We know you're very, very busy, but we want the students to get that chance to interact with one another, not just as part of the debate program in that competitive element, but also to have the discussion on what's one thing that the other side said that made them pause or think in a new way, what idea from the other team they feel would be interesting to explore further. Did the conversation change how they see the issue, even a little bit, or not at all? Did they notice any common ground, even if they disagreed on the conclusions? and what's one thing the other side did well in making their case, and what's one question that they still have after hearing both sides. So we want the students to have that conversation at the end, off camera, off the recording side, so they don't feel self-conscious. They will not be marked on that, because that conversation, that guidance, that discussion guidance will happen at the end once the debate has been already recorded. In terms of materials and where to find them, you can find any research links for Motions podcast on our concern.net website, or you can find the audio if you use YouTube, and if you're a fan of YouTube, you can find the podcast on our Concern YouTube channel under the educational resources playlist. You can also find the podcasts on the 3 league phase round motions on the Spotify account by typing in Concern Worldwide Debating Development Podcast. And that's just an example of how our podcasts are linked to our website. And there's also worksheets that go and accompany each podcast. So we advise students to use them as a way to start their research. And you can see there the example of the post-primary resources on our Concern YouTube channel. And this marks the end of this year's debate mentor information session. If you ever have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us via email. We are debates@concern.net. Also encourage your students to follow us on Twitter, or X. On X, we are @ConcernDebates, and on Instagram, we are @ConcernActive. Thank you so much to all of you for joining the Concern Debates teacher information session and for listening to us. And we look forward to working with you this year. All the very best. Take care.